I watched from the spot I've taken next to my sister's squirrel flight, pride soaring in my heart. It's their warrior ceremony. My kits, now Hollyleaf and Lion Blaze, now warriors of ThunderClan. A brief thought flashes through my mind. Would their father be proud of them? I shake the thought away. He's a new mate in their kit. He's happy in his own clan. He has nothing more to do with me. And as much as that hurts, it is what was meant to be. I can tell some cats still can't forget I was willing to leave them for a wingclan cat, and I don't blame them. But when I think about it, if I could do it all over again, I wouldn't change a thing. Because Crowfeather gave me 3 beautiful kits, who I would give my life for in a heartbeat. Before I found out I was having kits, I'd wish I never ran away. I felt as if it was my fault that Cinderpot had died in the badger attack. But when I found out that she'd been reborn a Cinder kit, now Cinderheart, I realized it was her destiny to die in that nursery den, so she could be reborn, live the life she was meant to live, as a warrior. I'm the first to call out my kids' names, and probably the loudest too. Hollyleaf lifts her head high, relishing the sound of her warrior name. Every time I look at her, I see her father. She has his thin frame, her fur only a shade darker than his, and I see his spark in her green eyes. She can be proud, and sometimes only sees things her own way, but she's so in touch with the warrior code that it seems to pump through her blood, despite being half-clan, despite being born to a medicine cat. She follows the warrior code more than any cat I know. She was once my apprentice, and as much as I loved having her so close, sharing the same den as if I was her mother back in the nursery, I knew in my heart she could never be a true medicine cat. I fooled myself for a while, believing she was a late bloomer. But time showed her true destiny was that of a warrior, a life outside my den. Then there's Lion Blaze. Squirrelflight tells me he has my amber eyes. But when I see him, I don't see myself. I see Crowfeather's spirit and courage. When he was buried under the collapsed rabbit warren back when he was apprentice, I felt as my whole world was being torn apart. And when Crowfeather appeared, I saw my own panic reflected in his eyes. But not for Lion Blaze, not for our kit. And he never knew it was his, but instead for his Nightcloud's kit, Breeze Pelt. Soon we dug them out. J-Paw, my apprentice, my kit, shakily put his paw down his half-brother's throat and cleared it of the dirt. Breeze Pelt had taken a breath. I suddenly felt a flash of sympathy for Nightcloud. The cat I felt jealousy and anger towards had just almost lost her kit, and felt the same terror I had just felt for Lion Blaze. I told Crowfeather I would give my last drop of blood to save his kit, but I wasn't talking about Breeze Pelt. Then Nightcloud had to remind me that Breeze Pelt was her and Crowfeather's son, and all the sympathy I'd felt for her had vanished like dew in the greenleaf sun. I know she didn't steal him from me. I was the one that gave him away. But the fact that he had forgotten me less than a moon after our goodbye still stung. While I was carrying his kits, burdened by the fact knowing I could never raise him myself. All I wanted was for him to curl around me, saying he'd love me and our kids forever. While I was in my own world of panic, he was happily curled next to the bitter black she-cat in the warrior's den. Lion Blaze is puffing out his chest. He looks ready to take on all of ShadowClan. He is a fearless warrior, and I see the strength and determination Crowfeather has shown on the journey to our new home. He is never afraid to do what's right, never afraid to charge first into the battle to fight for his clan. Back in the battle of the Wind Clan by the tunnels, he faced off with Crowfeather, son against father. Who knew the world could be so cruel? Blood fought blood, even if they didn't know they shared a lot more than loyalty for their clan. I turned to J-Paw. Now he's calling his littermates names, pride shining in his blind eyes. I feel so relieved that he's no longer jealous of them, being able to be warriors when he wasn't, and he finally seemed to accept his destiny as a medicine cat, and seemed content with it. His blue eyes remind me so much of the ones I fell in love with, ones that still haunt my dreams. He is so much like Crowfeather, with a sharp tongue, his prickly personality, even a short temper. Most cats find him irritable and try to avoid him when they can, but I can see the way he uses sharp words to cover his true feelings for other cats. I know deep down how kind, compassionate, and caring he really is. I saw it in the way he took care of Cinderheart when she hurt her leg, how determined he was to make her a warrior. I think part of it was because he wanted her to have something that he was denied, and I truly believe he'll become the greatest medicine cat to ever walk among the clans. He is also so in sync with StarClan in ways I never thought possible. He walks into other cats' dreams as if he was stalking a mouse. I fear one day he'll get himself into trouble with traveling through dreams without much thought to the consequences. I know there'll be repercussions if he doesn't stop acting so reckless. Sometimes I fear he's too much like his father. But I love him, and his litter mate's all the same. I plan on naming him J-Feather when it is his time to become a full medicine cat of ThunderClan. So even though he doesn't know it, he will always carry a part of his father with him. And when other cats speak his name, Crowfeather's name will be with them as well. They all have their faults, just as any cat, but their hearts are all in the right place, more than mine ever was. They're all valuable members of this clan, and I can never be more proud of them. And if I had never fallen in love with Crowfeather, if I had never run away, they never would have been born. So now, I have no regrets. And if I could do it all over again, I would still fall in love with Crowfeather. I'd still run away, and I'd still have my kids. They're fine, beautiful cats, and I'll always be proud of them, and always love them. Just as I'll always love Crowfeather, and I won't ever regret a thing, and nothing a cat could ever say would change that, because I have no regrets. And when I rejoin StarClan, I will watch my kids from above with the same love and pride as I watch them now. No regrets.